The Metroidvania genre is the best genre of games if you're kind of a deranged lunatic or something. Okay, it's me. It's me. I'm the deranged lunatic. Fine. And luckily for me, this seems to be like the least saturated genre of games in the universe at the moment, because I absolutely gobble these things up like they're hotcakes, even though I get frustrated with them all the time. At least lately, because there isn't like 500 of them coming out every single day like some other genres that I won't mention. But of course I'm talking about the modern Metroidvanias, not the classic ones, because well, you know, I kind of wasn't even born when some of those or most of them came out actually. So I'm kind of going off of my own experience here. I'm not an old head gamer. Well, I kind of am. I started gaming in like 2001, but just get over that, okay? Get over that. I'm talking about the modern games. I'm talking about Hollow Knight, the Ori games, Nine Souls, and of course, Ratatouille the video game. All right. 1 second, I just hit another dead end. Hold on. And hey, make sure you grab a snack and a drink right now, okay? Anyway, I've been playing the newest serving of Metroidvania on the menu, which is called Mio Memories in Orbit. And I keep finding myself completely kind of just confused, actually. Not about the game itself, but just kind of how I feel about the entire genre of Metroidvanias in general. You see, I'm having quite an incredible time playing this new game, but for a long time, I didn't really understand people's complaints about Metroidvanias. But you know what? Now I think I'm starting to get it, okay? I can feel the hater juices slowly flooding into my body and filling me up like I'm about to pop, like that little girl who turns herself into a big fruit in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory or something. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Hold on, another dead end. What the fuck? I think this is exactly why we don't have Metroidvania games popping up every single day like roguelike games. Because if you're going to make one, it kind of feels extremely risky due to the fact that, you know, if you make maneuvering around the game even slightly boring, most people are clocking out and are kind of put off by it, if I'm being honest. Backtracking, moving slowly, or not knowing where to go sometimes is just kind of annoying and tedious. Now, don't get me wrong, gamers. I'm not saying I don't like hard games or that I need yellow paint telling me where to go at all times in a game. And by the way, here's my Spelunky 2 100% just to prove this. But when I hop into a Metroidvania, my biggest criticism, especially with this new Mio title, sometimes I'm wandering back through the map in places I've already been 10 times looking for a new entrance out of the 50 locked doors that you can't go through at the early game. But fine, I'll admit it, okay? Pretty much every Metroidvania kind of does this, including Silksong. And I think that's the main reason why they made Hornet so much faster and more agile, along with like a sprinting ability that you get pretty early into the game, compared to the first game where the knight is pretty slow, besides like dashing and other stuff like that. So you kind of have to be insanely patient, especially when running back from bosses that are far away, as oh my god, it's miserable sometimes. And that brings me to boss runbacks, dude. I mean, this is like one of my main criticisms that just annoy the hell out of me. I think the part where you have to go past all these big mean bugs that like do the upward diagonal dash down at you on the way to the Cogwork Dancers boss fights makes me so angry, because at first I'd always get hit at least once by them on my route there, and it's a long route, which, you know, it leads you to be demoralized for the boss fight itself. Luckily, that boss fight is a genuine masterpiece, so I can hardly complain. I mean, look at this. It's the best boss fight in the game, and it has the best music. You know, it's kind of hard to complain about either of the Hollow Knight games because they feel like the only Metroidvanias that are just so damn good that even the bad features in Metroidvanias definitely exist within them, but they're just so amazing I can't help but fully love them anyway. And that's not to say that I don't love and enjoy many of the other Metroidvanias that I'm about to mention, so don't get me wrong with my critiques of the genre. I just definitely want to put that out there that I absolutely adore all of these games, including Mio Memories in Orbit, the new one. But I'm definitely going to use some examples here and explain what I like about them and explain where I think they kind of went wrong, because I definitely love this genre, but there are some certain flaws that I see time and time again. Memories in Orbit is an absolutely beautiful and very welcome addition to the Metroidvania genre, in my opinion. I love that the devs clearly noticed that the early game movement can be kind of tedious and sometimes boring, so they kind of spiced it up a little bit by adding these super fun ice slidey ramp thingies. I don't know what to call them, but it sure is a lot of fun slipping and sliding around on these things, I'll tell you that. That being said, some of the boss runbacks can be very frustrating, and I mean, what's the point of making me run back to a boss for 5 minutes when the path is exceedingly boring? But this is definitely my main complaint about Metroidvanias, including Silksong actually. So I will let it slide with this game, and the best way to deal with this boring kind of run back thing is to just kind of beat the boss instead of just dying over and over again. And I will say that the farther you get into Mio, the better the movement items kind of get, and the more abilities that you unlock. Either way, I'm really enjoying this title so far, and I will be finishing it. Blasphemous is a game that I keep gradually coming back to because of its insanely unique and amazing looking graphics. This game feels very old and somewhat satisfying at sometimes and retro, so even though I kind of suck ass at it, it's still pretty fun most of the time. But where I start to get a little bit annoyed at the game is the absolute lack of movement. I mean, just because it's a Metroidvania and it's supposed to be hard, it doesn't mean that it just gives it the excuse to have very bad and annoying feeling platforming and movement. It just feels so goddamn clunky sometimes. Luckily, besides that, the combat system is very fun, albeit still kind of clunky and weird, but the game itself is such a unique and fun experience sometimes that I feel like I can tough out the incredibly tedious feeling movement that feels especially frustrating when you're getting absolutely dominated in certain areas so bad that it feels like you're only moving inches forward every time you spawn and go back to that area. That being said, I really do need to get around to finishing this game because I know it will be worth it. Although I strongly dislike the movement, I still find this game to be very fun and unique. Oh my god. This game is so annoying. Nine Souls feels like such a special game to me, and the only reason I'm really including it is because I kind of just want to glaze it. And to be honest with you, I'm not really sure most of my critiques for the other games really apply to this one, but I wanted to mention it because I desperately need to go back and finish this game because I got decently far and never got around to finishing it for whatever reason. Okay, fine, I'll tell you the reason actually. It's because it's mostly just a skill issue, I think, but this game sometimes feels like it's just hard for the sake of being hard. I don't know. I probably just need to parry better or something. Anyway, this game is just so perfect. It's like almost up there with the Hollow Knight games for me, but just like slightly under them. I just love how sometimes it shows like manga art screens in this game, and it just has such a cool story, very good movement, very good combat system. I can't glaze this game enough, man. This is just one of the Metroidvanias where the funness outweighs the tedium for me. And you know, there are some other Metroidvanias that I've played that do things so well that I can look past all the tedium and runbacks and backtracking. For example, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is such a beautiful looking game in general that I'll deal with all the annoying stuff like that. That being said, the movement in this game is so much fun, it doesn't really feel boring to begin with. That's why I think making a Metroidvania just feels so risky for game devs sometimes, which might be kind of the best thing for the genre. I mean, it makes it so there's less of these games, and the ones that do come out are like really good. I mean, it's the least hacky genre to the extent that if a dev team wants to make a Metroidvania, they better be sure that they can make it entertaining and somehow supplement the boringness of moving around the map with some sort of fun movement tech or beautiful graphics or even like side quests along the way. And you know, when a team comes together and just has the perfect formula for making an exciting Metroidvania, you know it's gonna be absolutely massive. And you know what else is massive? The fact that I love this genre so much, dude. And that's kind of what we do here, guys. We try to have constructive and meaningful conversations about game that spread love. And you know who else spreads love? My favorite comment from last video. And hey, as always, I appreciate you guys for stopping by the channel. Make sure to send this to your crush, okay? And let me know what your favorite Metroidvanias are in the comment section below. Bye bye.